review bylaw for that 2 years 4 times dia review bylaw. Okay, so the existing bylaw, kalau you tengok the existing bylaw, this is the format. The format kita ada part 1 and part 2. Under part 1 kita ada part A, part B and part C, and part 2 you ada A and B. Masa you belajar the first audit paper, you guna the previous bylaw. Okay, so the revised bylaw they come out dengan part A and part B. Under part A on professional ethics, so dalam part A kita ada part 1, okay, on the fundamental principle. Part 2, okay, part 2 adalah professional accountant in business. This one kita tak cover in our syllabus, okay. Part 3 adalah professional accountant in public. And part 4, dalam part 4 ni kita ada 4A as well as 4B. 4B adalah independent for non-assurance services. 4A more on the independent concept, okay. Kemudian kita juga ada dekat sini kita ada, sini kita refer kepada section 100 ya kelas. Ini section 200. Part 3 section 300. Part 4 what do we have here? Kita ada section 400, section 500 as well as section 600, okay. Kemudian kita ada part B. Part B we have part 1 and part 2. Okay, so apa yang kita fokus adalah dalam this class kita akan fokus kepada part 1, part 3 as well as part 4, 4A and 4B, okay. Okay, now kita tengok part A, part 1. Okay, part A on the professional ethic. Part 1 we focus on the kepada code fundamental principle and conceptual framework. Part 2 on the business, this one kita skip, okay. Part 3 kita akan go on. Part 4 adalah independent concept, okay. Okay, now we look at part 1 class, section 100. Section 100 adalah code of ethics, okay. Section 110 adalah fundamental principle, and dia punya subsection under fundamental principle, kita ada 5 fundamental principle that need to be followed by accountant. That one we call it as integrity, objectivity, professional competency and due care, confidentiality, and the professional behavior. Kemudian kita juga ada conceptual framework, okay. Yang penting dalam section 100 adalah kat sinilah section 110 as well as section 120. Section 110 is the fundamental principle. Sekejap kelas. Okay. Section 110 is the fundamental principle and section 120 is the conceptual framework. Okay, kita tengok dulu the fundamental principle. Okay, this one I skip dulu ya kelas. Okay, I just pause it pada lecture dulu ya. Fundamental principle, dalam fundamental principle as professional accountant you shall comply with the following fundamental principle. Okay, of ethics. Sebagai accountant ataupun sebagai auditor, kita kena follow all these requirement. Okay, we need to follow the integrity concept, objectivity, competency, confidentiality as well as the professional behavior. Okay, tetapi in our daily life, auditor in performing professional service may face many threats. Okay, sometimes ada factors yang menyebabkan you not be able to follow the fundamental principle. Faham ya kelas ya? Mula-mula sekali dia punya key point adalah as the auditor, we need to follow this fundamental principle yang 5 items ni lah. Okay? Tetapi as you buat kerja as the auditor, you might face the situation where you face some threat, okay, to comply where you not be able, the cause of that threat, you not be able to follow that fundamental principle. Okay, itu this one kita panggil sebagai conceptual framework. Faham kelas ya? Therefore, sebagai auditor, what you need to do adalah you need to identify the threat. You can identify what are the threat that you might face yang menyebabkan you cannot follow the fundamental principle. After you identify the threat, you need to apply the safeguard to eliminate the threat Ataupun kalau you tak boleh eliminate the threat, at least you be able to reduce the threat. Okay, in order to ensure that you be able to comply with the fundamental principle. You boleh nampak tak dia punya relationship? Mula-mula sekali apa yang you kena buat adalah we need to follow the fundamental principle. Betul tak kelas?
Betul.
There are 5 fundamental principle that we need to follow. Okay. Kemudian sometimes bila you nak follow fundamental principle, we might face some threat. Okay. So that we not be able to follow that fundamental principle. Jadi apa yang auditor kena buat? The first thing, we need to identify the threat. Kemudian kita kena apply the safeguard to reduce the threat. Okay. So kalau kita boleh, kadang-kadang boleh, bukannya nak, kalau you nak eliminate 100% pun sometimes it's quite difficult. Okay. Kalau you tak boleh nak eliminate 100%, but at least you be able to reduce the threat. So that we can follow that fundamental principle. Is it clear? Kena faham konsep dulu lah.
Yes,
Clear ya
Miss.
kelas ya? Boleh ya? Boleh ya? Okay. Now kita tengok the first fundamental principle. The first one is integrity. The meaning of integrity adalah straightforward and honest. Meaning that when you conduct the audit, you mestilah straightforward, lurus. Bukan lurus bendul ya. Kena straightforward. Meaning that you should not have any financial interest. Ataupun you tak boleh buat kerja audit, at the same time you have the personal interest. Okay. You also need to be honest when we conduct the audit. Honest ni bukan saja in mind, tetapi people pun akan nampak you sebagai honest and independent when we conduct the audit. Okay. Integrity also imply fair dealing. Okay. You mestilah fair dealing dengan your client. Tak boleh macam bagi misleading information ataupun macam you try to offer low audit fees to attract them to hire you as the auditor and so on. Okay. So dalam integrity, okay, as professional accountant, when you with associate dengan report ya, with associate with report, written and communication, number one adalah when you deliver information, you should not deliver false or misleading information ataupun false or misleading statement. Ataupun you tak boleh omit any of the information. Kalau ada you jumpa discover anything, you need to disclose it ataupun you need to report kepada shareholders. Okay. So when the professional accountant become aware that the accountant has been associated with such information, the accountant shall take steps to be disassociate from that information. Okay. Okay, second one adalah objectivity. The meaning of objectivity adalah you are not biased when you conduct the audit, okay? And try to avoid any conflict of interest or the undue influence by others, okay? So bila kita kata objective, meaning that you are very objective. You yang determine apa yang you nak buat dan you are not biased. Bila kita kata not biased, meaning that the other party, shareholder ke, investor ke, client ke, bankers ke, not be able to influence you to make the decision. Okay, so you have to use your professional judgment when you conduct the audit. Okay, so bila kita kata bias, meaning that you have to be very independent lah. Okay, independence meaning that you have to be independent under 4 situation. Number one adalah you kena independent ataupun you are not biased when you select the sample size. Sekejap ya kelas. Okay, bila you select the sample size, client tak boleh nak influence you in selecting the sample size. Ataupun bila you conduct the audit test. Okay, sebab kita ada a few types of audit test and a few types of audit procedures. Okay, so you boleh pilih the type of audit test that you want to conduct or the type of audit procedures that you want to conduct. Okay, meaning that you, other party tak influence you to make the decision. Okay, so you also need to be independent ataupun very objective when you evaluate the result. Okay. And then last one adalah when you issue the audit report. You mestilah very objective and you are not biased. Faham kelas ya? Okay. So as the professional accountant, you should not expose yourself to the situation that may impair your objectivity. For example, be too close dengan klien, dapat gift daripada klien, okay? Ataupun dapat other benefit daripada klien, ataupun you involve in certain activities dengan your client which may impair your objectivity later on. Sebab kadang-kadang kalau you ada good relationship, close relationship ataupun blood relationship dengan your client, you might be biased. Faham ya kelas ya? Apa maksud integrity? Integrity straightforward and honest. Okay. Objectivity, you are not biased. Bias bukan saja you tak bias ya. The other party not be able to influence you in decision making. Especially bila you nak buat benda-benda ni lah. Okay. The client as well as other party not be able to influence you. You use your professional judgment to determine the sample size, the type of audit test, how to evaluate the result, okay. Kemudian what the type of audit report to be issued. Boleh ke kelas so far? Am I too fast?
Boleh, madam.
Boleh ya?
No, madam.
Jumaat ni macam you open the end of the week kan? You open that kan? Okay. Next one adalah the third conceptual framework adalah fundamental principle adalah professional competence and due care. Dia ada dua ya. Satu adalah professional competence and another one adalah due care. The meaning of professional competence adalah you kena ada professional knowledge and skill to conduct the audit. Professional knowledge ni mesti meaning that you kena ada professional, you kena ada proper qualification, okay, kena undergo some of the training program. For example, to be MIA members, you kena kerja 3 tahun dekat audit firm or 5 years in other industry, okay? Then you kena sit for the MIA exam and become the MIA members, okay? Tetapi you kena ingat ya, sebagai accountant ataupun sebagai auditor, sometimes we also need to have some certain skill, okay? Skill to conduct the audit, okay? Kemudian it's not only that, sometimes sebagai accountant, sometimes kita punya knowledge adalah limited. Sebab industri ni macam-macam industri, okay? Maybe we familiar dengan some industry, for the example like manufacturing, banking, insurance, okay? Tetapi maybe some industry, for the example like aircraft industry, shipping industry, ataupun industri yang macam guna bahan-bahan galian, maybe for the industry kita tak familiar. So kalau you nak accept the appointment, so you need to go some training lah, okay? So this one boleh lah, you baca dulu ya. You mestilah competent, okay, based on the current technical, okay, kalau ada latest changes, okay, so you kena aware. Kalau ada latest changes in FRS ataupun kalau ada new law, new regulation imposed by government, so you need to update the knowledge, okay. So sebagai accountant, you also need to go kepada CPE ataupun dia panggil Continuous Professional Development, okay. Continuous Professional Development meaning that ataupun CPE, kalau kita panggil CPE ni adalah Continuous Professional Education. Meaning that macam in a year, there are certain number of years, certain number of hours yang you kena pergi training program. Training ni kadang-kadang some of the audit firm dia akan buat in-house training, or kadang-kadang MIA will conduct some seminar ataupun some training kepada auditors lah. So you can join that the program conducted by MIA. Okay. Kemudian you juga boleh join mana-mana seminar yang melibatkan auditing line lah. And then some of the audit partner or audit managers, they are required to conduct some research on auditing dan present the paper because that one adalah part of the CPA. If I'm not mistaken, the CPA you need to have it about 40 hours a year depending on the level lah. The higher your position, the CPE will be more. Okay. Okay, that one adalah CPE. Kemudian kita tengok pula on due care. So the meaning of due care adalah okay, you shall take reasonable step to ensure that those working in the professional. Okay, this one adalah CPE ya. This one adalah professional competency. It's not only the audit firm, they also need to ensure that dia punya staff need to go some training program so that dia punya staff should be update lah dia punya skill and knowledge. Okay. Let me check kat sini. Okay, due care adalah completeness of the working paper. Okay, when we say that we conduct the audit with due care, dia ada dua meaning due care. Satu adalah completeness of the working paper. Okay, completeness of the working paper meaning that kalau for the example, sometimes when we conduct the audit, kita discover something unusual. Okay. So kadang-kadang apa yang auditor buat ni, bila dia discover something unusual, some of them dia akan change the sample size kan. Tetapi basically apa yang you kena buat adalah bila you discover something unusual, we need to investigate that particular item and get the clarification daripada top management. Okay, that one kita panggil sebagai completeness of the working paper. Okay, another due care adalah another due care meaning dia adalah, for example, like when we conduct the audit, we need to conduct the audit with courtesy. Kita kena ada courtesy, okay? Because our responsibility adalah kepada shareholders of the company, and we know that the shareholder and others, we rely on our opinion to make the decisions, okay? So kita sebagai auditor, when we conduct the audit, we need to have some sense of responsibility towards them. Okay, because we know that at the end of the day, other people out there, we rely on our work, apa yang kita buat, to make the decision. Okay, so that one adalah another the meaning of due care lah. Due care ni dia ada dua in two category ya. Satu completeness of the working paper and another one adalah courtesy. We need to be, kita kena ada sense of responsibility towards public. Okay, bukan saja shareholder tetapi other person yang might use the audit report. Okay. Okay, next one adalah fundamental principle adalah confidentiality. Confidentiality meaning that all the information should be treated sebagai confidential. Okay. So sebagai auditors, you are not supposed to disclose the information kepada outside the firm or employee organisation. Okay, confidential information acquired as a result of professional and business. Okay, basically all the information should be treated sebagai confidential dan you cannot disclose it kepada outsiders. Bukan saja kepada outsiders tetapi dalam you punya audit firm pun you tak boleh disclose. Okay, because benda tu confidential. Okay, benda tu actually you should only use it within your audit team saja. Okay, you faham ya the meaning audit team dengan you punya dengan others. Okay, sebab dalam company, dalam audit firm dia ada macam dia ada banyak a few partners. Okay, so this partner dia ada dia punya manager dan dia akan ada dia punya client. Okay, katakanlah bahawa you ada you punya audit team kat sini, ada a few audit team here. So kalau any information you just discuss within your audit team. So you tak boleh share dengan team-team yang lain ataupun you tak boleh share dengan with the others, dengan yang lain dalam even dalam the same audit firm, because kita tak tahu sebab kita takut kita takut ada benda ni leak, that some of the information mungkin akan leak kepada outsiders. Okay. Okay, the second one adalah you also cannot use this information for your own advantage. For the example, like you sell the information ataupun you disclose this information kepada competitors, or you use this information for your own benefit. Sebab you sebagai auditor, we get the information before the information being published kepada public. Ataupun we cannot use the information sebagai sebab this one kita panggil sebagai insider trading. You pernah dengar tak perkataan insider trading? Kalau you baca corporate finance, you pernah dengar kan? Meaning that we get the information before orang lain dapat the information, okay? So walaupun you dapat the information before orang lain dapat the information, you cannot use that information for your own advantage ataupun untuk you punya benefit, okay? Sebagai accountant, you shall maintain confidentiality even in social environment. Okay, tak bolehlah duduk sembang-sembang dengan kawan-kawan, duduk cerita, oh you know what happened to this company, apa yang dia punya board of directors buat, apa yang this Tan Sri buat, apa yang that Datuk tu buat, tak boleh membawang sangat lah ya. And then you tak boleh, need to ensure that you do not disclose it even kepada you punya close family ataupun kepada you punya immediate family. Tak bolehlah balik rumah nak cerita ke anak. Okay, apa yang hari ni, apa yang you buat, ataupun you nak cerita kat your parents apa yang you buat dekat office whatsoever. You should not disclose any information, okay? The information bukan saja you bukan saja kena maintain confidentiality untuk your client, tetapi juga kepada you punya prospective client. Katakanlah bahawa orang tu baru je jumpa you to appoint you sebagai auditor, dah conduct the meeting, okay, and then dia pun dah deliver some of the information kepada you, so you are about to determine sama ada to accept or not the appointment, okay. So whatever information yang dia disclose kepada you juga should be treated sebagai confidential information, okay. Kat sini could you please baca ya kelas sebab dia lebih kurang sama juga. Okay. This one kita dah discuss tadi. Okay, you kena maintain confidentiality of information within the firm or employing organization. Okay, even for your prospective client pun you need to maintain the confidentiality. Okay, kemudian you are not supposed to disclose confidential information kepada to the others. You tak boleh disclose without proper and specific authority. And then unless there is legal or professional duty or right to disclose. Under certain situations saja you boleh disclose the information. Okay, now kita tengok. Later on kita akan tengok ya, under what situation you can disclose the information. Okay. Next one baca ya kelas. This one pun kita dah discuss. Okay, cannot use the information for your personal advantage ataupun for the advantage of the third party. Okay. Number F ni. Okay. Walaupun the relationship ended, katakanlah bahawa you are no more the auditors of that client. Okay. So the information juga mestilah be treated as confidential. Tak boleh nak disclose. Walaupun you dengan dia dah tak ada relationship. Okay. Tetapi semua information adalah confidential. Okay. Sebagai auditor, kita also need to take reasonable step to ensure that personnel under the accountant's control and individual from whom advice and assistance are obtained respect the accountant's duty and confidentiality. That's why normally kan katakanlah bahawa dalam satu team, katakanlah bahawa let's say kita audit klien yang big client, next kalau you especially kalau you kerja dekat audit firm lah ya, ataupun those yang buat internship dekat audit ya. So normally dalam audit team tu pun dia akan pecahkan you kepada a few sub team, okay? So katakanlah bahawa kalau you dalam this team you just handle small items saja. Kalau you dalam this team you just handle another subsection, okay? Dalam this team you akan handle another subsection. The reasons why audit you punya audit manager buat macam ni adalah sebab dia tak nak audit junior ataupun supervisor audit at the lower level you tahu everything. Okay, dia nak you cuma tahu sikit-sikit saja. Okay, Sebab kalau you tahu everything, meaning that benda tu dah jadi macam dia try to avoid you daripada tahu benda-benda yang terlalu confidential. Okay, sebab dia tak nak nanti later on kalau you tahu everything dalam that company, dalam your client, so maybe you might leak some of the information. Cuma those yang higher level saja yang boleh tahu semua, yang boleh dapat all the information. Okay, faham ya kelas ya? That's why kalau you kerja audit later on kan, kalau you pergi audit, you akan buat benda yang small part saja. You tak akan tahu, kawan you akan buat bahagian yang lain. You tak akan tahu apa yang kawan you buat dan kawan you pun tak tahu apa yang you buat. Cuma manager saja yang tahu apa yang you dengan kawan you buat. Because later on, the manager will review the working paper. Betul tak kelas? Those yang kerja dekat audit. Those yang buat internship dekat audit. Betul kan? Betul tak? Betul kan? Boleh dengar Kak cakap dia? Kenapa I dengar macam tak clear on your part?
Clear, madam.
Clear ya? Okay. Okay, next one adalah under what situation you be able to disclose this information? You cuma boleh disclose the information kepada outsiders under these three situations saja ya. This one adalah the first one, second one, third one. Okay. Number one adalah disclosure is required by law. Okay, for example, production document. Okay, katakanlah bahawa law require you to issue some of the information. SC katakanlah bahawa nak some of the information or document daripada you, so you can produce or disclose the information. Okay, tetapi kat sini apa yang MIA recommend adalah bila you nak disclose information untuk A and B ya, when you nak disclose information kepada outsiders, okay, you always get advice daripada legal office. That's the reasons why kalau big audit firm, they have their own lawyers, okay. Dapatkan advice daripada legal office on the information yang that you nak disclose later on. So kita takut kadang-kadang bila kita disclose information, you terlebih disclose. Okay, you letak extra, you disclose information yang extra. Takut later on, the third party or client might take legal action against the auditors. Okay. Okay, number B adalah disclosure is permitted by law and is authorized by client. Okay, this one normally berlaku if there is any court case lah. Kalau ada court case against client or against auditor, so we might disclose some of the informations. Okay. The third one adalah there is a professional duty or right to disclose when not prohibited by law. Okay. The first one adalah this one adalah by law ya. These two by law. Kalau not prohibited by law, you still can disclose this information under situation 1, 2, 3 and 4. Number 1 adalah untuk quality review of a professional body. Okay, this one adalah kita panggil sebagai practice review. Okay, practice review normally dibuat oleh MIA. MIA will conduct the practice review. Yang ni I mention about the first one ya kelas ya. Okay, MIA akan conduct practice review ya. Apa maksud practice review adalah MIA dia akan review the working paper of the audit firm. Okay, dia akan buat spot check lah, okay, to ensure that the audit firm, when they conduct the audit, they fulfill the MIA punya requirements. Okay, and then they want to ensure that bila audit firm conduct the audit, they need to maintain certain quality of audit. Okay, so under that situation, you boleh disclose the information kepada MIA under practice review. Any question class pasal practice review?
No, faham madam.
Macam kalau dia kan macam bila dia buat practice review, dia apa yang dia buat adalah they will call audit firm, okay, beritahu dia nak check certain file. Dia akan beritahulah nama-nama file yang dia check maybe audit firm ni akan hantar file ni kepada MIA ataupun MIA akan hantar staff dia kepada audit firm and check some of the audit file. Okay, dia punya purpose adalah, satu adalah dia nak ensure you follow MIA requirement, dan number 2 adalah you maintain some audit quality when we conduct the audit. Okay, practice review. So another one, okay, kita skip yang ni dulu. Another one adalah kita ada another review, kita panggil sebagai peer review. I just terus explain ya, apa maksud peer review ya. So, kadang-kadang soalan dia keluar, dia suruh you explain the difference between practice review and peer review. Okay, peer review kita buat within the audit firm. Okay, so basically bila kita nak buat peer review, I just conteng kat sini dulu ya. Katakanlah bawah here adalah audit firm. Audit firm. So this CPA dia ada a few partners. Okay, so these partners lah yang akan sign the audit report ya. This one adalah audit partner ya. Kita ada audit partner A, audit partner B, C and D. Audit partner A dia ada dia punya manager, and then dia ada dia punya client. Okay, dia ada list of dia punya client lah. So dia akan handle this client. Audit partner B akan handle dia punya client. C pun dia akan handle dia punya client, and D pun dia akan handle dia punya client. Okay, so at the end of the day, after they complete the audit, the audit, okay, selepas buat final audit and about to dapat completing the audit and about to assign the audit report, so apa yang dia buat adalah they will exchange dia punya working paper. Maybe audit partner A dia akan paskan dia punya working paper kepada other audit partner. For example, like dia akan bagi kepada audit partner D. So audit partner D akan review working paper of the audit partner A. Okay, the reasons why dia akan check lah sama ada the completeness of the working paper, dan sama ada sample size yang dia pilih dah cukup or not, audit test, audit procedures yang dia buat dah is appropriate or not. Okay, and then they need to maintain some audit quality. So kemudian barulah kalau if everything dah okay, barulah audit partner A akan sign the audit report. Okay, dia akan exchange the working paper tetapi within the same audit firm. That one kita panggil sebagai peer review. Kalau practice review, be conducted by MIA. Faham kelas ya? Boleh faham ya?
Faham,
So,
madam.
soalan ada tanya ni lah, dia tanya explain the difference between these two. Okay? Okay, satu practice review, kita sambung kat sini balik. Number 2 adalah to respond to an inquiry or investigation by a professional or regulatory body. Okay, meaning that kalau ada mana-mana professional body or regulatory body need some of the information daripada auditor, you may disclose the information. Okay, the third one adalah to protect the professional interest of the professional accountant. Normally kalau kita nak protect ourselves lah. Okay, kalau ada legal action against us pun, if we want to protect ourselves, okay, ataupun ada third party question about kita punya credibility and so on, so kita nak protect ourselves under that situation, kita juga boleh disclose the information. Okay, last one adalah to comply with technical and professional standards. Number 4, okay? Number 4 dia referring kepada ethical clearance. Kenapa kita katakan ethical clearance? Right? I think dah belajar dalam first audit paper. Ethical clearance. Ada tak? So ada change of auditor. Okay, so under that situation, you can disclose the information kepada third party tetapi with the consent daripada client. Okay, so let me check dulu ya. You kena dapatkan dulu consent daripada client. For the example, I give you the example. Katakanlah bahawa here is your client. Okay. And then client nak appoint you sebagai new auditor. So this one kita panggil sebagai proposed auditor. I tak tahu kenapa I pilih yang this one, dia macam susah.
Madam,
Yes.
ada kawan saya nak masuk. Madam tak accept.
Oh, dah lama kan dia duduk menunggu?
Sekejap.
Tak, memang kena beritahu sebab otherwise I tak nampak. Okay. So later on, just in case kalau you masuk lambat, you kena beritahu your friend. Okay, so to kena inform I lah. Okay. Boleh nampak ke slide kelas?
Boleh, madam.
Okay. So sebab kadang-kadang kalau some of the students dia akan WhatsApp kat I, tapi I kalau ngajar I dah tak tengok the phone. Okay. Katakanlah bahawa this client adalah established client ya kelas ya, bukan established client. This client adalah established company. Sebab client ni kita ada dua jenis ya. Satu adalah new company. Kalau new company meaning that dia tak ada auditor before that. Another one adalah established company. Kalau established company meaning that dia dah ada auditor. Now they want to change it kepada new auditor. So katakanlah bahawa this client nak approach you to appoint you sebagai auditor. You tak boleh terus accept the appointment, okay? The first thing that you need to do adalah you kena communicate dengan previous auditor. Sebab dia dah ada previous auditor kan? I nak kena share je. Okay, so dia dah ada previous auditor. Nanti I kena cari pen yang lain, okay? Dia dah ada previous auditor. So what you need to do adalah you kena communicate dulu dengan previous auditor. Okay, bila you communicate dengan previous auditors, you just ask the previous auditor if there is any professional reason not to accept the appointment. Okay, so you tanya previous auditor if there is any professional reason not to accept the appointment. Okay, so the previous auditors dia tak boleh simply disclose the information kepada you sebab the information adalah confidential. Okay, now because we are talking about confidentiality. So apa yang previous auditor need to do adalah the previous auditors need to get consent. Dia kena dapatkan consent daripada client to disclose information kepada you. Okay, so bila client give the consent, barulah dia boleh disclose the information. Selagi client do not allow, so the previous auditors cannot disclose any information. Faham ya kelas ya? Itu maksud yang bahagian 4 ni. Okay, boleh faham ya? Boleh ya? Okay. Since I dah kat sini, I terus habiskan tajuk ethical clearance ya. Okay. Kadang-kadang you sebagai proposed auditor, you dah tunggu respon daripada previous auditor, tetapi there is no respon. You tak dapat any respon daripada previous auditor. Dia sama ada klien tak bagi consent ataupun memang previous auditor tak take initiative to communicate dengan you, okay? So you kena tunggu 14, kalau ni this one kita ikut law ya, 14 to 21 days, okay? So dalam masa 14 hingga 21 hari you still do not get any respon daripada previous auditor, you kena hantar second communication. Ini first communication ya. Sekarang kita kena hantar second communication dengan previous auditor. Bila kita kata communication ni maksudnya you hantar surat ke, or sekarang ni kita pakai email lah ya. So maybe you boleh email kepada previous auditor. Dalam second communication, you need to state that in your opinion, there is no professional reason not to accept the appointment. Okay, you state that in your opinion, because you dah buat investigation, you dah study about client and so on. So you rasa in your opinion, there is no professional reason not to accept the appointment. Selepas second communication, barulah kita sebagai purpose auditor accept the appointment. Faham ya kelas? Itu adalah ethical clearance. Ethical clearance dia termasuk juga dengan confidentiality. Okay, any question? Tak ada. Ya? Yeah? Boleh. Okay, next one adalah kita tengok the last fundamental principle adalah professional behavior. Professional, yes.
Yang tadi, yang accept tu, maksudnya masa first dia hantar communication tu and client all auditor tak balas, kita hantar yang second tu, kita state maksudnya kita terima client tu ke macam mana?
You state that there is no reason for you not to accept the appointment.
Maksudnya kita dah tak tanya dia lah, boleh maksudnya ada tak reason untuk tolak?
Okay. Because kita dah bagi masa dia 14 days untuk dia reply.
Okay, madam.
Okay, next one adalah professional behavior. Professional behavior basically dia relate dengan yang atas ni ya. Dia relate dengan integrity, objectivity, professional competency and confidentiality. Meaning that when you conduct the audit, all the time we have to be professional in conducting the audit. Okay, so you all boleh baca dulu ya. You kena comply dengan relevant law and regulation. Okay, dia macam dia adalah combine all those 4 factors tadi lah ya. You kena impair or might impair you kena ada good integrity. You sebagai auditor, you kena maintain good reputation. You kena jaga nama baik you sebagai auditor. Bukan saja reputation you sebagai auditor, tetapi reputation of MIA. Okay, you kena maintain good reputation of the profession. That one kita panggil sebagai professional behavior. Okay, in relating to marketing ni kita ada 3 ya. APS. A adalah advertising. P adalah promotion. This one kita akan cover detail later on. S adalah solicitation. Okay. When come to marketing, you should be honest and truthful when you give the information. Okay, bila you buat marketing ataupun bila you deal dengan client, you tak boleh exaggerate. Okay, tak boleh exaggerate meaning that, oh okay, we be able to complete the audit dalam masa 3 bulan, 4 bulan. Okay, ataupun we be able to give you other services. Okay, ataupun you exaggerate apa yang you boleh buat. Sometimes benda tu not possible, tetapi bila you deliver the information as if you can do so many things. Walhal maybe you tak ada cukup staff, you tak ada lack of skill and so on. Okay, and then another one adalah when you do ataupun when you deal with your client, you cannot compare your work with the other auditor. You tak boleh kata, oh we be able to conduct the audit better than other CPA. Tak boleh. Okay, it is not allowed. Faham ya kelas ya? Tetapi this topic kita akan cover detail later on dalam section 400 later on. Okay. APS ni biasa dengar ke kelas? Advertising, promotion and solicitation. Advertising you tahu lah is advertising kan? Promotion pun dia lebih kurang advertising. Solicitation, do you know what is solicitation class? Tahu tak?
Tak.
Dia macam you want to sell something tetapi one to one. Dia macam kalau for the example like kalau insurance agent jumpa you kan, dia nak jual insurance, dia akan cater one to one, dia akan discuss dengan you one to one. For the example, macam you lah, like say you jumpa kawan lama you and then you know that your friends ada company. So you ajak dia pergi lunch, then you explain about you punya apa yang you boleh offer kepada dia. Okay, that one adalah part of the solicitation. In general, APS is not allowed. general. In general, APS is not allowed. Okay. Tetapi masalah APS ni dia tak ada macam, dia ada grey line. Macam under certain situation boleh, under certain situation tak boleh. Okay, that's why nanti later on kita akan tengok detail APS. Okay. That's why kadang-kadang kita sebagai auditor, sometimes you tak sure sama ada boleh ke tak. Okay, so kalau you tak sure, you can always consult MIA. Okay, you consult MIA sama ada benda tu boleh buat ke tak boleh buat. Okay. Okay, this one kita akan belajar detail kelas ni, so I skip dulu this part. Okay. Okay, next one adalah tadi kita tengok kepada fundamental principle. Next one kita akan tengok section 120. Section 120 adalah conceptual framework. Conceptual framework adalah kita kena identify what are the threat that we might face that yang menyebabkan you not be able to follow the requirement of fundamental principle. Okay. So dalam conceptual framework, the first thing yang kita kena tengok adalah we need to identify the threat. You kena identify the threat. Kemudian you kena evaluate the threat. Okay, so after you identify it, kemudian you kena determine how to safeguard it. Macam mana you nak reduce the threat ataupun macam mana kita nak eliminate the threat. Okay, you all nak break dulu ke ataupun you nak I habis awal?
Mana-mana pun boleh, madam.
Mana-mana. So kalau I habis awal boleh lah ya? I just continue. You all boleh follow lagi kan?
Boleh, madam.
Boleh, madam.
Okay ya. So sebagai auditor, so I ni tak nampak muka you all. I pun tak tahu I bercakap seorang ke apa ke kan. Okay, sebagai auditors, we need to identify the threat. There are 5 threat that we might face ya. So the threat yang kita ada, this one you kena tahu sebab dalam jawapan, you kena identify the fundamental principle as well as dia punya conceptual framework. Okay. So the type of threat that you might face adalah self-interest threat, a self-review threat, advocacy, a familiarity as well as intimidation threat. So sometimes dia bagi soalan dalam case tu it can be more than one threat. Tetapi you cuba dapatkan what is yang paling close threat, the closest threat relate dengan that case. Okay. Okay, now kita tengok the first one, self-interest threat. A self-interest threat basically kalau item tu melibatkan financial ataupun other interest. Okay, which may impair your judgment, your professional judgment. Okay. That one kita panggil sebagai self-interest threat. Financial or other interest will inappropriately influence your professional judgment. Okay, self-interest threat. Kalau you baca soalan, anything yang melibatkan ringgit, duit, financially, normally kita classify that one sebagai self-interest threat. Okay. Second one adalah self-review threat. A self-review threat adalah the accountant will not appropriately evaluate the result of the previous judgment made. Okay. Or a previous judgment made, this one adalah first situation. Or any activity performed by accountant or by other individual within the accountant firm or employee organization on which the accountant will rely when forming, okay, you will rely when forming a judgment as part when you conduct the audit. Basically, there are 2 situations lah kat sini ya. The first situation adalah kalau based on the previous judgment. Okay, the situation macam ni, kalau kita ikut by law dia kata in order to ensure that you are independent, you tak boleh terlalu familiar dengan that client. Okay, meaning that kita tak boleh hantar team yang sama to audit the client. We need to do the rotation. So MIA recommend we need to do the rotation every 3 to 5 years. Meaning that 3 tahun kita akan rotate hantar team yang lain. Jangan yang lama sangat ya, maksimum 5 tahun saja you boleh audit satu klien. Okay, so selepas tu kita kena hantar team yang lain to audit that client. Okay, kadang-kadang katakanlah bahawa previously kita hantar team A untuk audit klien. So after 3 years, kita hantar another team to audit the client. Kita akan guna team B to audit the client. Katakanlah bahawa you are in team B, so bila you audit client ni, you akan review previous working paper kan? Betul tak? You akan review apa yang kawan team A buat. While we conduct the audit. Betul kan? So bila you review the previous working paper, you discover ada kesilapan dalam dia punya working paper. Salah judgement ke, salah sample size ke, ataupun ada benda yang dia tak discover ke, ataupun dia buat test, dia dapat result tetapi dia misinterpret the result. Okay? That one also adalah one of the self-review threat. Ini you kena tahu detail sebab soalan boleh tanya macam-macam jenis. Okay? And this is the first situation. The second situation adalah katakanlah bahawa you are dalam audit firm, this one adalah audit firm ya. Audit firm, kita ada banyak department, am I right? And then ada department also provide service kepada our client. Katakanlah bahawa you kat sini provide audit service. Okay. Katakanlah bahawa sini consultancy ke ataupun IT also provide service kepada client ni. Okay. Later on, bila kita conduct the audit, kita akan review on dia punya IT system. And which the IT system provided by our audit firm. Okay, that one also being considered sebagai self-review threat. Faham ya kelas ya?
Faham, madam.
Faham ya? Ataupun kalau macam small audit firm ni yang biasa berlaku dekat small audit firm adalah you provide, your kawan you provide accounting services dan you akan audit dia punya financial statement. Okay, that one adalah self-review threat juga. Okay. Okay, next one adalah advocacy threat. Advocacy threat adalah professional accountant promote a client or employee organization position to the point that accountant objectivity is compromised. Okay. Faham ke kelas apa maksud advocacy? Normally promote a client where later on dia akan compromise your objectivity. Okay, for the example, katakanlah bahawa here audit firm, bukan audit firm, now we are talking about client. Let's say here adalah your client. Your client ada accountant lah ya, kita senang. Accountant ataupun dia punya CFO ya. Dia ada CFO. Kemudian and then you audit your client lah, this client. Kemudian tiba-tiba CFO ni resign. Okay? CFO resign, so dia tak ada accountant for the time being. So and then dia tanya you, okay, do you have anyone to yang dia boleh appoint sebagai accountant? Maybe you refer the client kepada your friend. Okay, ataupun kepada katakanlah bahawa you ada kawan accountant yang nak cari kerja lain. Okay, so your friend join kat sini sebagai accountant and then you akan audit dia. Okay, so that one kita panggil part of the advocacy threat. Okay, faham tak kelas? So kalau accountant tu buat salah, lepas tu macam you nak audit apa yang accountant tu buat, satu sebab dia you kenal kan. Another one, client will blame you. You are the one yang recommend this person to join our company. Faham tak? Konflik tu mungkin akan berlaku. Faham ya? So that one adalah advocacy lah. Okay, next one adalah familiarity threat. Familiarity threat berlaku kalau you dah terlalu lama conduct the audit dekat client, too long, ada close relationship, family relationship, kawan, okay. Okay, so kalau dia terlalu lama dah jadi macam company tu dah macam jadi office you, so maybe you dah jadi too simpati kepada klien dia. Ataupun maybe you dah take for granted, okay? Ataupun klien tu pun dah tahu dah apa yang you nak buat. Okay, sebab dia dah tahu cara you kerja you and so on, okay? So that one we call it as the familiarity threat. So macam mana kita nak reduce the familiarity threat? So MIA recommend we do the rotation. Every 3 or 5 years, we need to send another team to audit that client. Okay. Okay, last one adalah intimidation threat. Intimidation threat berlaku kalau auditors ada pressure. Bukan auditor tu pressure, okay? A client put pressure kepada auditors, okay? For the example, like dia nak take legal action against the auditor, ataupun kadang-kadang klien tu dia ugur auditors, okay? If you don't do this, we are not going to reappoint you sebagai auditors, okay? For the example, katakanlah bahawa kalau you disclose this information kepada bank ataupun kepada shareholders, we are not going to renew ataupun to reappoint you sebagai auditor. Okay? Ataupun maybe dia ugut nak sue some of the audit partner, ataupun dia nak ugut klien ni dia ada dua so kalau dia nak sue ya, satu dia mungkin sue the audit firm ataupun dia mungkin sue one of the auditor, one of the audit team lah, okay? Kalau dia nak sue the audit firm, MIA recommend that you decline the reappointment ataupun you resign lah. Tetapi kalau dia nak sue one of the audit team, okay, yang dia tak berkenan, let's say, okay, so apa yang you boleh buat dalam audit firm tu boleh buat adalah you need to change him, okay? You tukar dia pergi tempat lain dan ambil orang lain to replace his position. Faham ya kelas ya? Dia ada dua senario yang mungkin akan berlaku. Okay, dah habis section 120. Okay, any question about section 110 dengan 120?
So far no, madam.
Boleh faham ya? Okay. Conceptual framework, baca this one. I think kita dah discuss. Eliminate, okay. Mula-mula kita kena identify dulu the threat. Selepas we identify the threat, we try to eliminate ataupun we try to reduce it by apply the safeguard. Kita kena apply the safeguard to reduce or to eliminate. Kadang-kadang you dah apply safeguard but will not be able to reduce the threat. Okay. So kalau you tak boleh nak reduce the threat, you kena decline or ending the activity. Okay dah. Okay. Now we go on kepada section 300. Dalam section 300, we talk about how to apply the conceptual framework. Ini yang penting ya. Macam mana kita nak apply conceptual framework. Section 100, we talk about the fundamental principle. Section 120, we talk about the conceptual framework. Under certain situation, ada threat where you will not be able to fulfill the requirement of section 100. Betul tak kelas? Am I right? Sekarang section 300, kita nak apply this concept. Okay, kita nak apply this one. Okay? Because later on penting untuk kita buat benda-benda ni sebab kita nak ensure that kita buat kerja-kerja audit, we are still independent when we conduct the audit. Okay? So today I akan cover sampai section 300 lah. Section 310 and onwards kita akan cover next class. Okay? So I hope I'll be able to cover sampai section 300. Section 300 ni dia panjang tetapi some of it kita dah discuss before this. Okay? Dan some of it you boleh baca lah ya. Okay, section 300 adalah kita nak apply the conceptual framework. Okay, so mula-mula kita kena identify the threat. Okay, kita identify the threat dalam section 120 ya. So these are the example of the threat. Okay, For the example like self-interest track. Okay, you all boleh baca quickly juga ya. Okay, I go one by one satu, kalau you ada financial interest. Nombor dua adalah kalau you quote low audit fees. Okay, you bagi discount. Tak boleh ya. Okay, for the first 2 years, I bagi 20% discount. Third year, baru you bagi I full amount. It's not allowed. Okay. Ataupun you tahu, okay, klien tu, this company, dia dah ada auditor. Dengan dia ada auditor, dia dah bayar 50,000. So you kata, okay, kalau I jadi your auditor, I'll just charge you 40,000 saja. Itu pun tak boleh. Sebab kadang-kadang bila low audit fees, MIA akan question about the quality of audit. Okay? Satu. Nombor dua adalah kadang-kadang you bagi low audit fees sebab ataupun free. Ada tak possibility you boleh bagi free? Free audit fees. You buat kerja audit for free je. Ada tak? Pernah tak berlaku? Cepat cakap. Cakap ada ke tak ada je?
Tak ada.
Ada sebenarnya ya. Normally untuk non-profit organisation. Okay. Tetapi sebab benda ni adalah apa yang tersirat dalam hati you tahu. Orang tak tahu you punya intention. Okay. Kadang-kadang katakanlah bahawa let's say katakanlah kawasan my house ni kata Bukit Jelutong kan. Ada masjid Bukit Jelutong. So you offer yourself, okay, I boleh audit account Masjid Bukit Jelutong, okay? Atau apa? I buat amal jariah aja. I bagi free. Baik tak niat you?
Baik.
Baiklah kan, okay. Tetapi kadang-kadang you bagi free audit fees, tetapi you have other intention. Orang tahu tak you punya intention? Tak ada kan? Dia macam orang beriman lah kan? Macam kita puasa lah kan? You cakap you puasa tapi you depan orang you makan, belakang orang orang tak tahu kan? Itu you dalam diri you sendiri, okay? That's why kita panggil sebagai professional behavior, okay? Maybe you might have the intention because you know maybe some of the AJK they have this masjid punya committees, okay? Maybe some of them they are the company. And then maybe you nak cuba promote your service kepada some of the masjid punya members, AJK members. Okay, to appoint you sebagai auditors of their company. Okay, that one is another one lah. That one also considered sebagai self-interest trap. Okay. Tapi macam I cakap lah, benda tu orang lain tak tahu. You saja yang tahu your intention. Okay. Next one adalah kalau you ada kalau you ada business dengan you punya client. Okay. You audit your client. At the same time, client tu ada other business dan you jadi partner ke, you ada share ke dekat business tu. That one also being considered sebagai self-interest. Okay. And then adalah kalau you be able to access kepada confidential information and you use that confidential information for your own benefit. Okay. Boleh ya kelas ya? I pergi laju sikit ya. Next one adalah kalau you discover significant error when evaluating the result of previous professional service performed by members of the accountant firm. Okay. This one can be under self-interest. This one or it can be under, kita tengok tadi adalah under familiarity. Cuba tengok yang tadi ya kelas ya. Aku dah hilang kat mana dah tadi. Okay, kita tengok tadi under
Self-review track.
Under self-review track. Okay, it also can be under self-review track. Okay, boleh ya kelas ya? Okay. Thank you. Okay, next one adalah self-review. Self-review adalah, okay, sometimes, okay, a professional accountant issue assurance report. This one adalah kalau you provide other service kepada your client, okay? Other non-assurance services. Assurance report on the effectiveness of the operation of financial system after implementing the system. For the example, you yang design system tu kepada your client. Dan kemudian you buat report on that, on the effectiveness of that system. Jadi you buat report apa yang you buat lah. Tetapi bukan you yang buatnya. Basically department lain yang buat. Department lain design sistem tu pada client dan later on you buat operational audit. Okay, bila kita buat operational audit, kita akan come out dengan report on the effectiveness of the system. Okay. Ataupun a professional accountant having prepared the original data used to generate record that are the subject matters of the assurance engagement. Okay. Kadang-kadang macam for the example, like say katakanlah bahawa consultancy department provide some of the information bagi servis kepada our client. Kemudian that client guna all the data untuk prepare dia punya forecasted income statement. Faham ya kelas ya? This one berlaku kalau company tu nak issue prospectus. Kalau nak issue prospectus, dia kena prepare forecasted income statement, okay? And then you need to review the forecasted income statement. The datanya daripada consultancy department, okay? So that one is also part of the self-review track, okay? Advocacy track, for the example, like accountant promoting the interest of share. Kalau you ada share or kalau you promoting of interest, for the example like you audit the client, so in return client give you some share, okay, later on, okay. Ataupun a professional accountant acting in as advocate on the behalf of the client in litigation. Ataupun kalau ada any litigation, so you akan jadi macam you represent your client. Okay, kalau ada any dispute with the third party. Okay, ataupun professional accountant, dia lobby the higher authority on behalf of the client. Okay, for the example, katakanlah bahawa you audit Maybank, one of the biggest bank in our country, and then you lobby SC. Okay, untuk change some of the rules and regulation on behalf of Maybank. Okay, so that one is also part of the advocacy track. Okay, familiarity track, boleh baca kelas? Close relationship. Okay. Okay, kalau ada significant influence, you are deemed to be the officer of the company. Okay, katakanlah bahawa here, macam mana nak cakap ya? Katakanlah bahawa this one is the client, you are the accountant dekat client ni, kemudian you resign, you join audit firm. Bila you join audit firm, dalam masa 12 months, okay, dalam segi law, you are still considered sebagai deemed to be the officer of the company. Okay, so bila you join audit firm, you cannot audit this client because you dah familiar dengan company ni. Okay, kalau you nak audit, you kena tunggu 12 months. Faham ya kelas ya? Faham kan? Kena tunggu sebab cooling period dia adalah 12 bulan. Because daripada law point of view, walaupun you resign, within that 12 months, you still considered as the officer of the company. Okay, boleh ya? Sebab kalau you terus audit, meaning that you audit apa yang you buat lah basically kan? Okay, and next one adalah familiarity adalah loan associate ataupun you dah terlalu lama audit that client. Okay. Okay, intimidation adalah if the professional accountant be threatened with dismissal from the client engagement or the firm because you disagree. Kalau you disagree dengan something and then client ugut nak dismiss you, okay, that one we call it as the intimidation. Ataupun professional accountant feeling pressure to agree with the judgment. Kadang-kadang client dia ada banyak subjective item ya, and then judgment dia punya some of the item yang guna judgment. You know what is item yang guna judgment? For the example like contingent liabilities, asset revaluation reserve, revaluation of asset, okay? Depreciation, accumulated depreciation, provision for doubtful debts. Itu adalah some of the item-item yang judgment items, okay? Kadang-kadang kita rasa macam figure yang dia letak tu terlalu tinggi, okay? And then bila kita minta dia reduce kan, dia refuse to reduce that figures, okay? So sometimes we might be pressure dengan our client, okay? So in that situation also being considered sebagai intimidation threat, okay? Okay, last slide for today, okay? This one adalah example of safeguard. How to safeguard the threat, okay? Next, the first one adalah additional time. Ensure that you punya staff adalah qualified staff, okay? So this one will be able to reduce the self-interest threat, okay? Kemudian maybe kita boleh review, okay? Reviewer, okay? Katakanlah bahawa this one adalah to reduce dia bukanlah direct untuk self-review threat kan, it can be anything lah. But for the example adalah to reduce the self-review threat, okay? Macam mana kita nak reducekan self-review threat? Katakanlah bahawa orang tu close dengan client, okay? And then you punya bahagian yang you buat should be closely been reviewed by the audit manager. You faham tak apa maksud I? Appropriate review. Jadi macam bila kita kata this person close dengan our client ataupun ada self-interest dekat that client, so apa yang dia buat, kita kena closely review the working paper. Okay? Ataupun I bagi satu example, this one pernah keluar dalam soalan exam ya. Katakanlah bahawa here, okay, let's say this one adalah client. I guna scenario yang dalam exam question hari tu ya. I think last 2 semester kot. This one adalah client. Okay, katakanlah bahawa this client dia jual car, dia jual kereta, and this client dia bagi 20% discount. Dia bagi 20% discount kepada dia punya loyal customer. Okay. So bila dia bagi 20% discount kepada loyal customer, so dia offer kepada you. You adalah auditor, let's say you adalah one of the audit team. Okay, dekat this client. So dia offer kat you 20%. Sebenarnya tak ada masalah ya. Kalau dia offer kepada outsiders dan dia offer juga kepada you, benda tu tak termasuk dalam gift yang dibenarkan. Is allowed, okay, under by law. Faham ya? Melainkan kalau dia kat orang lain dia tak bagi offer, tiba-tiba pada you dia bagi 20% discount. Itu tak boleh lah. Okay. You faham ya situasi ni kelas ya? Faham ya? So you sebagai auditor, so you ambil, you take the offer, you ambil the discount. So bila you take the discount, apa yang you kena buat adalah you need to inform kepada audit manager and audit partner lah. Supaya audit manager aware yang one of dia punya team member took the discount 20%, okay? So the audit manager akan masukkan dalam audit firm, dia mesti ada satu logbook, okay? Dia akan masukkan dalam logbook, okay, nama you, discount yang you ambil, kereta apa yang you beli, and the amount of discount that you take, okay? Itu tak ada masalah, basically ya. Itu adalah normal procedures, okay? Tetapi kadang-kadang bila you dah ambil discount, kita takut you tak independent when you conduct the audit. We just afraid, okay? So apa yang kita buat adalah the audit manager ataupun higher one akan review apa yang you buat. Akan closely review the working paper that you prepare. Faham ya kelas ya? Dia mesti ada another person yang review that particular part, okay? Actually semua benda kita kena review kan, tetapi yang you punya kita akan closely review the working paper. Faham tak kelas?
Faham?
Faham,
Faham ya?
madam.
Okay. Okay, next one. Next one adalah kadang-kadang one client, this one adalah client. Ni klien kita kan, klien. Kita provide audit service kepada klien, but at the same time we also provide other services. Consultancy, IT services, tax services, okay? Kemudian company secretary services kepada this client. Okay, so apa yang kita buat adalah in order to safeguard kita punya independency, kita kena guna different partner of engagement team. Okay, this one katakanlah bahawa partner A yang involve untuk bagi audit service, untuk bagi other service partner yang lain involve. Jangan the same partner. Okay, janganlah audit service pun ada partner A, consultancy service pun ada partner A, tak boleh. Okay, kita kena guna different partner and different engagement team to provide the service. Okay, so this one will reduce the self-review threat, advocacy threat, as well as familiarity threat. Okay, next one adalah involving another firm. Okay, kadang-kadang kita boleh juga involve another firm. Okay, especially kalau kita provide IT services kepada our client. Accounting information services. Sebenarnya kita tak boleh provide accounting information services pada klien ya. Sebab walaupun dia diberi oleh other department, tetapi because benda tu adalah the impact terlalu besar kalau ada mistake. Because later on kita akan audit that client kan. Normally kalau boleh do not provide. Tetapi you still can provide other IT services. Okay. Okay, in order to ensure that we still independent, untuk that particular part, kita akan appoint another audit firm. Okay, kita punya affiliate company lah, another audit firm to audit on that area. Okay, so by doing that, is be able to review the self-interest threat, self-review threat, advocacy threat, banyak ni ya, familiarity threat, as well as intimidation threat. Ini benda yang biasa dibuat, okay? For example, KPMG, bila dia audit satu company, kadang-kadang dia also provide other services to that company. So, dia suruh ada audit firm audit on that particular area. Faham kelas ya? Okay.
Faham, madam?
Faham, madam.
Faham, madam.
Okay. Kemudian kita juga boleh disclose kepada klien any referral fees or commission arrangement. You all tahu tak what is referral fee or commission arrangement? Commission and fees, commission sebenarnya is not allowed untuk audit services tetapi untuk other services is allowed. Kalau you belajar dalam audit yang the first audit paper, receiving commission, giving commission is not allowed. That one untuk audit services is not allowed, okay? Tetapi untuk other services dibenarkan ya. Referral fees, do you know what is referral fees?
Tak.
Tak, macam referral fees ni macam katakanlah bahawa klien tu nak appoint you sebagai auditor, kemudian you tak boleh sebab you tak cukup staff, so you refer klien ni kepada orang lain, kepada kawan you, kepada other audit firm. Okay? Saya rasa saya betul lukis draw kat sini. Kalau saya cakap I pun kadang-kadang I pun dah lupa apa benda saya cakap ya. Katakanlah bahawa here client C, client approach you auditor, okay, to audit the company, tetapi you tak boleh audit. Okay, you ataupun because you do not have enough staff. So you refer client ni kepada your friend, let's say X ya, to audit C. Okay. Kemudian X audit C lah, okay. Kadang-kadang bila X audit C, after sometimes C, dia offer kepada X other services. Tax services ke, consultancy services ke, IT services ke, okay. X tak boleh accept ya all this appointment without informing you. Sebab takut you yang nak buat ataupun you want to take all this thing. Okay. That one kita panggil sebagai referral. Okay. But sometimes you allow X to ambil all this one. Okay, tak ada masalah ya. Tetapi X kena bayar some commission kepada you. Okay, that one kita panggil sebagai referral fees. Okay. So, so under that situation, kalau you dapat any fees, so you need to disclose it kepada your client. Okay. Kemudian separate team. Ni ada mention tadi ya, kalau ada confidential. Kalau ada confidential issue, macam benda tu adalah very highly confidential information, okay? So kita nak ensure that kita punya audit team, tak semua audit team kena tahu all those information. So the audit team, our audit team, kita kena separate into small team. Okay? So not all of them tahu the information. Sebab kita tak nak our audit team leak the information kepada outsider. Okay. Itu saja for today. Boleh faham ke so far, kelas?